Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, who well. Peace and mercy to the Tazadak Akim out there that's laboring this truth with all sincerity. I want to say Shalom. All right, and today's topic is going to be a quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Going into avoiding pointless conversations. So I'm going to start from 2 Timothy 2:15. It reads, "Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High." All right, so we have to, in order to be approved, one of the ways to be approved to the Most High, to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, is by studying. And I want to actually get into the word. What does the word study mean? It means to strive towards. So we have to strive towards what? These scriptures. It says devote oneself to. So we have to devote ourselves, strive towards ourselves, towards the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. It says to study, apply oneself, show zeal for. So we have to show zeal. A way of us showing zeal for Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah is by studying. So let's read it again. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. "Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed." So we're not supposed to be ashamed, by studying these scriptures. It says, rightly dividing the word of truth. So when you study, when you get into the geography, the history, the different words, the meanings of words in the scriptures from the Old Testament and New Testament, all right, you're able to break down everything correctly, especially if a scoffer comes up, asking many different questions, your sword will be sharp, because the scriptures speak about in Hebrews, the 4th chapter, that the Lord's word is a two-edged sword. So, our sword, which is the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, it has to be sharp. And that, in order for it to be sharp, we have to constantly study. Okay? And it's very important. So verse 16, it says, "But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness." So we have to, matter of fact, let's go into the word shun. Okay? The word shun means, what does that mean? It says the word shun means to keep out of the way, avoid a person or a place, refrain from, neglect, run away from. All right, so it says to shun profane, vain babbling. So what does the word profane means? It means, the word profane means is to desecrate, to treat holy things with irreverence. All right. To desecrate unholy, all right, and anything that's unholy is outside these scriptures. Okay, so we have to avoid, when it says but shun profane, we have to avoid things that are unholy. All right, anything that's out of these scriptures, all right, out of this word, is considered unholy. So we have to stay away from that. All right, so it says, But shun profane and vain babblings. So what does the word babbling mean? We could just automatically, babble means to confusion. So it says, the word babbling means muttering, foolish talk, giving to idle talk. All right, is more to prattle, utter words, talk like a baby. When a baby talks, you really don't understand them. It's confused. You confused. All right. So we have to avoid, all right, things that are unworthy, that's outside these scriptures, and people, avoid, foolish, conversation, pointless conversations, because, these pointless conversations and anything that's outside of these scriptures, when you dwell with it, it increases more ungodliness. All right. So that's the reason why we have to avoid it. All right. That's why the scriptures say we have to walk in the spirit. So anything that's outside of these scriptures, is not being in the spirit. Okay. So we have to avoid, foolish talk, worthless activities. That's why the scriptures say we have to be of holy conversation. Let's get that in 1 Peter's. It says, let our conversation be holy. So this is 1 Peter's chapter 1, verse 15. But as which have called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation. So even our conversation, for the most, for most of the part, because everything is in balance. But you have to have, matter of fact, we're going to say all the time, because the scriptures say, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation. So any conversation that you have, and it always has to lead back into the scriptures. Okay. And that's what keeps you, on point and keeps you sharp. So when you're amongst the brothers, your conversation is supposed to be holy, supposed to be, spiritual, it's a balance. You may talk, few things in the world, but it, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, it still reverts back to the scriptures, in every way. All right. You could be talking about something that's going on in the town and be like, yeah, you see, that's why 2/3 is going to be destroyed, or you point out different wickedness as, that you may see on Instagram, and you may be talking with the Akim. It always, our conversation, especially with the believers, with the Tazadak Akim, has to be holy, has to be within the spirit, because it keeps us sharp. It keeps it a reminder of what we're doing it for. All right. We don't want our mind to be idle in this truth. Okay. So going back to 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 16, it says, but shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. It says, and their word would eat as doeth a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus. So, matter of fact, let's get it right over here. Read it again in a blue letter. So it says 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 17. It says, and their word would eat as it doeth as a canker. And what does the word canker mean? The word canker means, in the Greek, it says a gangrene, a disease by which any part of the body suffering from inflammation becomes so corrupted that unless a remedy be seasonably applied, the evil continually spreads, attacks other parts, and at last eats away the bone. So you could say a canker is like cancer, because that's exactly what cancer does. All right. So, the Lord is making a comparison. So, if you have, worthless conversations, especially that's why the scriptures say, if the right eye offend thee, pluck it out. Matter of fact, let's get it. Because it could lead, it could lead, it could spread like a disease, that, if a brother offends, if a brother's doing wickedness, if a brother's, all his conversation is not, in the scriptures, that could spread in the body, man. All right. So let's get it. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members shall perish, and not that the whole body shall be cast into hell. So, and this is talking about, staying, if a brother is going off, or if he's speaking outside of these scriptures, doing wickedly, you're supposed to, cast that brother out, man. Because his ways, could spread, throughout the church, throughout the body. So that's why you have to pluck it out. You see? So going back into, 2 Timothy's, the second chapter, when you got guys that's speaking ungodly, doing wickedness, All right, those actions and words could spread to the other body, to the other believers. Okay, so this is 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 18. Who concerning the truth have erred. So the people who believe, they fell out. All right. Matter of fact, let me read it again in a NOT. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 18. They have left the path of truth, claiming that the resurrection of dead has already occurred. In this way, they have turned some people away from the faith. And this is what happened to Hymenaeus and Philetus. They have left the path of the truth. All right. Because they started speaking other doctrine. And that's exactly what a lot of guys who fall out, they do. They start teaching other doctrine. They start saying that the so-called white man can be saved. They start saying that the mark of the beast is sin. Okay. They just start, coming up with crazy fables and doctrine. And that's exactly what happened to Hymenaeus and Philetus. All right. And in fact, it says, matter of fact, let's read it again. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 18. I'm going to read an NLT. It says, they have left the path of truth, claiming that the resurrection of the dead has already occurred. And this way, they have turned some people away from the faith. And that's the reason why, going back to Matthew, the 5th chapter, you have to pluck out, if the right eye offend you, got to pluck it out because it could spread like cancer. Just like what happened in this particular, verse with Hymenaeus and Philetus, they started preaching a different doctrine and, it spread. And a lot of the people who believed turned away from the faith. Okay. The last verse, it says, nevertheless, the foundation of thy power standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. So the Lord already knows who's his elect. And let everyone that nameth the name of Yahushua Mashiach depart from iniquity. All right. And whoever, belongs to the Lord, we have to turn away from evil doings. All right. But, that was it. Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praises and honor, glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And with that, shalom.